Did you see Pitt football is like top 10 in the preseason
Dude,
rankings?
aren't we ninth? I think
Yeah,
I think Pitt's ninth in the preseason rankings.
yeah, it's crazy. Okay, tell me if I'm wrong for thinking this way. I understand that y'all have Jordan Addison. I get it. Blitnikoff winner. I get all that.
He's a
Defense
dog.
very solid. I don't know how at least preseason hype is that high if you don't have Kenny Pickett, because he was the key that kind of unlocked everything. Tell me if you disagree with that.
Oh, I definitely think that Kenny Pickett was the key, but that key got changed out. Now we have a new key, Don Slavis. Okay, and this guy's gonna turn the key ahead. Maybe I don't know.
What is up, guys? It's your boy Smalls back on another edition of The Vault, brought to you by Thoughts from the Bench, the weekly show that takes a look back at some of the best and worst jerseys in sports. With me, as always, the boy, the homie, the man himself, Benny Buckets. How's it going?
I am doing good. How are you, buddy?
I'm good. I'm good. We got some nice weather finally. Like it feels
Yeah.
good today.
Hey, it does today, but we're supposed to get snow on Sunday, I think.
That
So,
is
uh,
that's
yeah.
heartbreaking.
And yet yesterday it was 79 degrees, and this weekend we have potential snow.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and people say I'm bipolar. I it's just it's a hard life basically until you get to June
Yep.
in Pittsburgh.
Yep.
We have our golden months from like June to end of October,
Mm-hmm.
and then it is tough sledding from November to May.
Yep.
I mean, because you never know.
Mm-hmm.
You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah,
You know,
I've said it to other people, but like I moved up to New England, right? And I thought, hey, this I'm gonna be used to this weather because like I grew up in Pittsburgh, basically still the
right,
Northeast.
right.
You know, um, dude, Pittsburgh has tougher weather than the Northeast. I'm telling you, Pittsburgh
Yeah,
weather is tough. Now I'm built for it and I'm ready for it. I'm fine with it, but Pittsburgh has gotten more snow than where I was in the Northeast. I think I think it was a little colder where I was, but overall a lot more snow, much worse weather here in Pittsburgh. But
yeah.
hey, I don't care. I'm glad to be back. That's all that matters. So
Hey, the boy is back, and we had a little behind the scenes vault reunion last week, which was dope. Actually, a week ago today, I think.
yeah,
That was dude. It was good. Just I see you every week,
mm-hmm.
right? But it was good getting to see you in person and know tangibly you were here, you were
Mm-hmm.
back for real. It was a good time.
Oh yeah, it was a good time, except for that your little prick friend that kept sinking cornhole shots. That little bastard.
Listen, man, some people, some people, okay, um, take these leisure activities extremely seriously.
Yep.
Okay. And he did
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
For those who won't understand the reference, a friend of mine just smoked Smalls and I in cornhole. Okay. And it would have even been fine. It would have been commendable if he just wasn't like the worst person of all time. I love the guy to death. Okay, I do. He's been a great friend to me, but in the competitive sense, I hate him. Okay, competing against him in anything, even if he's bad at it, I'll admit, great trash talker and very knowledgeable on what he's doing, which is why he feels he has the right to talk trash. But just dynamite cornhole player, genuinely. Played with him before, played against him hundreds of times. But yeah, tough outing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. That was it was
you,
tough.
you, you know you know who you are,
Hmm.
okay? I'm being very polite right now, not dropping a name, but yeah, it was
Yeah.
tough sledding.
Yeah, no, it's so I've played a good bit of cornhole in my day, but it's always been just passive cornhole, games. It's just like, hey, we're here at like a grad party or a tailgate, we'll just toss some bags around, right? This kid and all you guys, I was shocked that you guys were playing to like block the hole. I've never played with anyone that does that. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, "Ah, Jesus, I think I might be in some trouble here." Like there was strategy that was going into that way more than, "Hey, let's just see what happens." Let's toss some bags and see what happens. But and
Yeah.
you're right. He's a very effective trash talker because my mind was not on that game at all. I was just thinking about how much of a prick and he was a nice kid. Well, like how much of a prick this dude
And that's
was.
the thing is like is even some of his trash talk like isn't even mean.
No.
Like it's just like like he'll be like, oh well, about to get a 4-bagger, and like and then he'll do it, and I'm like, what? Or he'll be like, oh, you shouldn't have left me that open area to block you, and then he'll go and he'll lay a block bag, and you're like, you know what, man? Like I'm really tired of your predicting the future Tony Romo bullshit. Like this, and that's what he does. Is he's not now. You get more drinks in him, then he becomes rude.
Mm-hmm.
But most of the time, it's like he's just like dissecting things way more than anyone ever needs to for cornhole.
Yeah.
Okay, but it gets to you, and he did. And we tried our best, but yeah, the vault took an L on the cornhole side of things last week.
Yeah, no, we did. The worst part was the amount of times he was like, "Hey, good luck." As I was about to toss the bag, he's like, "Hey, good luck. You might need it." I was like, "Dude, shut the." And then of course I would miss it because he put that much pressure. It's like Andrew Luck, It's like Andrew Luck mixed with like the worst trash talker, like the most vicious trash talker ever. He comes at it from both angles. What a prick.
Yeah, he's got T.O.'s mentality with Andrew Luck's approach.
Yeah.
that's what it is. Yeah. Oh man.
Oh man. Well, Benny, I'm trying to think of anything big that happened in sports. NBA playoffs are coming up. Yeah. Hey.
Dude, the play-ins have been awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta admit, I did love watching the NBA on TNT guys roast the Timberwolves for celebrating their win over the Clips like they just won the whole thing. And then, the Hawks murdered the Hornets. Okay, I mean, left them in the dust. Miles Bridges hits a poor girl with his mouth guard. That was pretty entertaining.
Yeah.
The Nets took care of Cleveland. Cleveland tried to climb back a little bit, but I think we all knew what was going to happen there. And then the Pelicans put some work on.
Who
do they play?
Look it up.
Who did they play?
The Spurs.
The Spurs, yep. Right. And I like the Spurs. I root for Pop. But the Pels came through. CJ McCollum had an awesome performance. Great trade for them. Picking him up there, giving Devontae Graham and Brandon Ingram somebody to work the ball off of. And so that's really good for them. Penn State not in good news right now, buddy. I'm not going to bring it up, but I don't know if you saw more older stories getting released.
I started reading it. And I think I was reading it it was so long. That was part of it. I couldn't read the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah, but for it being so long, that's not a good thing.
No.
If it was like a brief, hey, we can take care of this in a page or two. But there's a lot. Granted, it's not relevant to today. This was decades ago, but at least things are kind of getting righted now, right? I mean,
yeah.
But yeah, still tough look because that there are some people who I will refrain from being one of those people, just out of respect for our friendship, that will throw these things at proud Penn State fans and alumni.
All right, Benny, we got a good topic today. I think you might have done it last week, but do you want to take the ad read again this week?
I think you did it last week, but I'll do it this week for sure. Yeah. So, ladies and gents, you know what time it is. If we're going to roll into a show, we got to start it off with Marshall Fitness. Marshall Fitness, your one-stop shop for getting your body right. Will Marshall, friend of ours, friend of the show, just a dynamite person, but an even better trainer. He's truly a professional. And now he's literally working with a professional sports team. I mean, the guy is the real deal. He wouldn't have got to where he was if he didn't have as good of a track record as he does. Um, a lot of testimonials that you're going to see are all positive because he's not making you conform to one body type, one workout plan, one meal plan. He's going to cater it to you personally for what your needs are, what your diet is going to need to entail, what equipment you have in your schedule. And he's going to help you using the MyFitnessPal app. You can track everything on there. And Will is just going to be the guy that you're bringing him on to help set parameters for you and give you guidance. He's not making you do anything. He's giving you the knowledge and being a teacher for you to reach what you want to do that you can't necessarily do on your own. He's a great encourager and he's just genuinely a great trainer. There's nowhere else you should start your fitness journey than with Marshall Fitness. And there's also no better time to start than now. And Smalls is also a good testimonial. Smalls has been doing the training program through Marshall Fitness. So, I mean, we've got somebody that is living it with our sponsor and Smalls. I think that you can attest that it's been nothing but positive reviews for Will.
Oh yeah, no, Will was awesome. He actually checked in with me today. Yeah, I'm down 3 pounds. Been at it for about 2 weeks, so like I'm
It's awesome.
I'm doing well. Definitely feel a lot better. Been eating a little better too, and that's like the biggest thing for me is just eating eating well. And I think Will does a good job with simplifying everything and making it easy to follow. So,
Right.
yeah, I only have good things to say about it so far. So, and I doubt that's going to change. But this week's topic brought to you by Marshall Fitness is NBA kicks. So, Benny, this is a little different than what we normally do. This is not jerseys, but I feel like s- basketball sneakers are it's like its own culture and adds so much to sports that it's something that I knew eventually we would have to tackle, and what better time to do it than right before the NBA playoffs.
Dude, like even the term sneakerhead should trigger images in your head.
Yep.
Okay. The community that is built around shoes, period, is massive. Like almost in it's hard to comprehend how big the sneakerhead community is. A lot of my friends are sneakerheads, and sure, there are plenty of other types of shoes, but the primary shoe that encapsulates the sneakerhead world is a basketball shoe. Basketball shoes play the most, and it's not even necessarily for practicality, right, to be used for ball. A lot of these are just for style. But in the NBA, they do both, right? Because they're practically using them and they want to look good. So just in so much, there's so much different character and flavors that get thrown into a shoe. You got signature shoes, and then you even got shoes that are put out by the big name brands that are just a type of shoe that aren't attached to a player that are also awesome. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's so many different avenues to go down, and even the same shoe with 50 different colorways and different patterns and different stitchings on certain shoes and different laces. And like, it's there's so much. This category is so vast. We could do an entire season based off of shoes. But I definitely think that we needed to hit this category at some point. And during the play-ins going into the playoffs, there's no better time for us to do it than right now.
Yeah, and I'm gonna preface this with saying I wouldn't consider myself a sneakerhead. I wouldn't. Uh, Recently I've started to get a little more into it. But again, it's just something that I never really paid attention to like a lot of people did, and so I'm gonna plead ignorance on some of my. Or let me put it this way: there are gonna be things that we leave off, and I know that, and I feel like if there are sneakerheads out there watching, you're gonna almost definitely gonna think that we left things off, and I know that. That's fine. I'm not pretending to be an expert in the sneaker
Oh
game.
yeah, dude. I have no idea what I'm talking about when it comes to shoes,
Yeah.
but I know what looks cool.
Yep.
And to me, Granted, if you haven't figured out that this is an opinion based show by now,
Hmm.
then I don't know what you've been watching.
Yeah.
But uh, these are just our takes. And hey, this will be one I think we'll see a lot of feedback from, like, hey, you missed this, or you should have put this, or whatever. I think that this will be one where we get a lot of people coming out from under the rock
Hmm.
to voice their opinion on these picks.
Yeah, all those termites coming out of the woodwork just to let us know how wrong we. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, no, I feel like we might get a little bit of blowback, but whatever. I don't care. Like we're doing it, and I think it's something that needs to be done because it goes past sports. This is a topic that just goes past sports because it's in so much just music and culture and just walking around looking at sneakers. Like this is something that goes way past sports. So we'll get started here. Benny, what do you got for your first one?
So I threw in these Jordan 4s and these ones specifically. Okay. This is going to be my nostalgia pick. Okay. I had these, mine were black and red, but I love this was Jordan's Carolina take. It was the Carolina colorway. As you see with the grays, the whites, in that obviously signature powder blue. The Jordan 4s were there's other Jordans, and I'll just leave it at that are iconic. But to be honest, I don't think the Jordan has put out a bad shoe.
Mhm.
The Jordan 4s were just one that you saw a lot in street ball play. Like I saw a lot of different guys getting these shoes, and that's why growing up, like I got these shoes was because I was like, oh, like those are dope. They are a Jordan model shoe. I want to throw that on. There's guys that have worn it in the league, but you typically see a lot of it in street ball because the shoe itself was like the first version that they had that was, or well, out of the 4 Jordans that had come out, it was the one with the most support, like the most cushion in there. So it was the most comfortable basketball shoe to move around. And now it's a bit heavier, but it still served the purpose of making you feel comfortable on the court. And I loved them. Like I said, I had a pair and were dope. I just fell in love with this colorway, and I think it's awesome that they used more gray than white in it. I think that makes it almost better in some of the tones there, as opposed to, like, I like that there's just a little bit of white, and then the biggest accent is the gray, but then even the black paired with everything with that strong powder blue just makes it an awesome ass shoe. And I'm just a huge fan of the kick.
Yeah, no, I mean, every there's gonna be more than one Jordan pick because I feel like you have to with an episode like this. You absolutely have to. These are some of the definitely some of the. I wasn't a fan of some of the later Jordans just because they almost followed like the clunky early 2000s sneaker look, which personally I'm not a
Right.
fan of, and I might get eviscerated for that. I don't care, but I feel like the Jordan 4s, and I would say even like the Jordan 3s they're kind of similar in a sense. They're up in the rafters. Like they are like known as some of the best for sure.
Yeah,
Threes and
dude. I
fours.
mean, hell, we could have done an episode on just Jordans.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we could have done that alone. So it just, and that's another thing, is like it was hard for me to just pick 3 shoes. Like, do you have any idea? Like, for those who don't know, the legitimate hundreds of thousands of picks that we could have made, like, of just different types of shoes. So you got to think there's the shoe company, then each model that they've made, then each colorway of that model, and then certain ones that were put out for a different year or a special occasion, like so many different shoes. But this was my heartfelt nostalgia pick that I had to throw out there because it was a shoe I had, just a different colorway, and I love this colorway specifically, so I had to throw it out.
Yeah. Powder blue always hits. Like we always say, powder blue hits
It's
no
clean,
matter what.
man.
And I know it's up, based on UNC's colors, but it doesn't matter. These hit without a doubt. These are awesome. All right, I'm going to go with my first pick. I'm going to go with the
Love
Reebok
it.
Twilight Zone
Love
Pump.
this.
All right. So, um definitely up in the rafters as far as like all-time basketball sneakers, 100%. Worn by Dominique Wilkins. This was like a revolutionary shoe back in the day. It was the first shoe that had the pump feature, which it was like the first time that there was an internal inflatable I don't even pouch if you even want to call it that. There's something in the shoe that literally pumped up to make it more comfortable and to give you a little more bounce and to give you more support. Really, the first of its kind. And Dominique Wilkins, the human highlight reel, was the main face of these shoes, and these are awesome. They look super nostalgic. I love the white and red colorway here. Almost has that like Jordan-esque kind of shape, if that makes sense. But you add in the pump, which I remember kids back in elementary school having the. Now I don't know if they had these, but they had the Reebok pumps that I remember kids walking around trying to get them pumped up and then letting the air out just because it was something cool that like you had never seen in a basketball shoe before. And I mean, dude, what screams vintage more than Reebok? Reebok's nowadays Reebok isn't as strong, but Reebok is one of those brands that has just such a classic look with almost everything they did back in the day. And you add these in, these are like in the pantheon of basketball sneakers without a doubt. And I
Have to be.
couldn't go all Nike, so I had to throw in a
Right, right,
Reebok
right,
here.
right.
And like I said, the pumps were just so cool. Like I never had a pair, but the pumps were so cool. Just seeing kids, like I said, just pump them up and deflate them just because they could. As dumb as that
Dude,
sounds.
it I know, but especially like for kids growing up, like that's such a cool gimmick that like, you pumping them up like it's gonna make you play better, run
Yeah.
faster, jump higher, whatever. Like it is funny as hell to me. And like when these came out, there's a spoof movie, a Mel Brooks movie called Robin Hood Men in Tights. Okay. And Dave Chappelle, who I'm actually wearing on my shirt right now, Dave Chappelle is in that movie, and it's supposed to be based in like a Robin Hood thing or whatever. And there are knights coming to attack them, and he's got these shoes on and goes, "Wait, I need to pump," and goes and just pumps them up. And like I love that. Like that is hilarious to me. But like the gimmick of it was cool, that it was like you were interactive with your shoe, but they also were pretty cool looking shoes. Like you said, they kind of have like the Jordan shape, which I like, and I kind of like how simple they left it.
Hmm.
And I think that they were effective, good looking basketball shoes. And obviously Dominique Wilkins, one of the most electrifying players in NBA history, was awesome to watch. I mean, obviously we didn't get to see him in person, but seeing highlights and things like that, and old, like I love that when they do like the NBA vintage replays
Yep.
of like playoff games from back in the 80s and 90s and stuff. Um, Fun fact, my best friend, who is a middle class Caucasian blonde white, um, was named after Dominique Wilkins. His first name is Dominique because of Dominique Wilkins. Uh,
I never knew that.
that's it.
Never knew that about
Uh,
Dom.
but but that's why. So Dom, if you're watching, hey baby. But that's just a little fun fact that makes no sense, because Dominique Wilkins played in Atlanta and was a strong Hall of Fame black basketball player, and Dom is a 5'10" white who went to school with us. But hey, listen, man, find that greatness within. Dom, you're my Dominique Wilkins, so there's that also. But back to the shoes, genuinely dope shoes, and I honestly would probably like to see what these like a pair in good condition are going for nowadays, because you got to figure that vintage price is probably through the roof.
Yeah, no, I'm actually gonna try to look it up just because I got the Goat app on my phone, so I'm gonna try to see what these are going for right now. I can only imagine that they are gonna be outrageously expensive. Maybe not Jordan level expensive, but still pretty
They've
close.
got to be nuts, I feel like.
Yeah, no, let me see. Reebok pump. Oh, it's not too bad. Like 160.
Oh,
Okay.
that's not bad at all.
Yeah, that's actually that's lower than I thought. Okay, well, here's the original one. The original one, the Twilight Zone, $300. Okay. I'm seeing one for
Still
445,
not
so
that bad.
yeah. But
Still not that bad. I was expecting like 600-700 bucks, maybe further. Like for like well kept, good condition.
mhm. Yeah.
Like I don't want somebody's smelly ass sneakers that they wore every day for 20 years. And they're like,
Yeah.
yeah, you're gonna have them.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, good pick. Whenever you sent this to me, I was like, that's a good out of the hat one.
Yeah.
Like that's really gonna be throwing it back. Like that. This is a vault pick.
Oh
Like
yeah.
you dug back like that's awesome.
Yeah, no, I feel like, and I kind of alluded to this before too. I think there's a big difference between, because I mean, you look at player shoes nowadays, they look more like, I don't want to say look more like athletic shoes, but like they weren't the big clunky basketball shoes that we saw back in the 2000s, but like the 90s chunky look was, in my opinion, much better than like the early 2000s Shaq chunky sneaker look. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And this fits exactly that. The 80s and 90s big shoe on these guys' feet, just it's awesome in a really cool way. So had to give the pumps a nod here. So Ben, what do you got for your second pick?
So these are new, okay, but I love these. I'm not even a big Trey Young fan personally, but these shoes are dope. Okay, these are the icy inspired icy ones by Trey Young teaming up with Adidas. I think these shoes are dope. They this all stemmed from because Trey Young came out, I think, 2 years ago with a custom pair of sneakers that were called Ice Trays, but it was just a one of one for him, and it looked like the cup of a slushie. Okay, that he wore out. I think they were like high tops. He came out like with a whole stand and everything. Like it was like a big like event type deal. Okay, and he came out wearing these that were just like novelty sneakers just for him. Then because there was so much buzz and positive attention around it, he teamed up with Adidas and was like, "Hey, can we at least use that as inspiration to make a shoe that kids can get?" A kid who played soccer for me, played basketball this year, was wearing these shoes easily the coldest feet on the court, and not just because they're called the ices. I mean, these are awesome, and the fact that they make them somewhat affordable for kids to wear is awesome. I loved it. Like it wasn't super novelty on the shoe, that there wasn't like the logo or anything, but you look at that shoe, and if I say it was inspired by the icy, I mean, hell, I remember as a poor kid going up to Kmart,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and they had an icy slushy
Yep.
machine going in and pouring it in there, like these cups, that machine. That's what I see in the shoe, but it's also a very well constructed shoe. The support around it, and then like you can get ones with laces or without laces where it's just a snug fit. It's a very comfortable. I've had them on before. I hooped in them once. They're very comfortable shoes to wear, just casually. They're very super comfortable to hoop in. I'm a chubby white, but for those who don't know, I love playing basketball. It's one of my favorite things. So the practicality of the shoe is important to me also in a basketball shoe. They're super comfortable and they just look so clean. Like it's not the spitting image of the cup, but it's got enough to where saying that it's inspired instead of based off of is a big difference. So being inspired by the slushy or the icy and Trey Young just bringing it to Adidas and being like, hey, the shoes that you made me would have killed. Let's make one together that we can mass produce. And they did. And their sales have been through the roof. And he's worn them a couple times, as you can see in that picture there. I just think that this is a dope shoe. This is a personal new school pick, but I had to put it on.
Yeah, no, these are I really really like these. The colors look cool. It looks like a cool shoe, right? And like it has that almost Carolina blue look to it, but like also kind of like a little lighter and faded with just a little bit of red. It looks, honestly, you sent me these. I'm like, I wonder where I could get an icy, because I'm just kind of craving one now, because that's exactly what it made
Yeah.
me think of. But like, no, these are awesome. And how much do these go for? You were saying that they were a little more affordable. How much do you know how much these go for? If you had to guess.
more more affordable in the sense of like because all basketball shoes, if you want one that isn't a K Swiss
Hmm.
special, you're gonna pay a little bit more out of pocket. I think these go for 120
Okay, that's not bad.
for a pair. So, but like it's something that the kids who are good at basketball in high school could get because
Yeah,
their parents know that it's a valuable investment. I'm sorry, buddy. If you're the 13th man, scrawny white kid who doesn't even have a jump shot, you're you're probably not getting these. You're going to the clearance rack. But if you're a star player on your high school team, you're you could lace up some ices
yeah.
this year.
Oh
So,
yeah.
but I just think that these, like, no pun intended, a cold shoe.
Mm,
I love these, and I think that this is going to be one that ages well.
yep.
Like when it's old, people are going to be like, "Ooh,
Mm,
that was so dope when that came out,"
mm-hmm.
and like that it's going to turn into a vintage shoe
Yep.
eventually.
Yep. I agree. I think really one of the few modern picks because I think I know I went old school just because that's more the stuff that I love and I just don't know the new stuff as well. But I mean definitely like a good, these are solid. Like these are sick. It's a great pick. All right, give me I'm gonna go to my second pick. I want to take the Nike Blazers. These are a given. So these were Nike's first basketball shoes that ever dropped back in 1973. Um, who was it? George Gervin, the Iceman, as they called him, the first guy to lay
Swerving Gervin.
Swervin Gervin, the Iceman, lace these up. He was the first guy to do so. And at the time, while they may not look like much now, these were the most technologically advanced shoe in that era. Period. Nike kind of changed the game with these because everyone and I have a pair of Converse, but everyone was kind of just rocking the old school Converse look, and they were fine. But the rubber sole gave these guys so much more grip on the court that it just became an icon and are still around to this day. Ben, you saw me last week. I had a pair of Blazers on last week. I love these shoes. These are one of the few basketball shoes that me as a guy who is not very swaggy, I can pull these off because it just it's become such a vintage look that anyone, if done right, anyone can pull these off because they're just so cool looking. They just has that vintage, almost Converse feel to them, but also having the swoosh on it helps. And they're also just simple. They're easy. The swoosh is super recognizable, and that was part of the reason they did it. Was they made everything white with just a black or red or whatever color they wanted swoosh on it to make it stick out. These are
Right.
clean. Dude, I love my Blazers. My Blazers are
Yeah,
like my favorite shoes.
dude, they're a clean shoe. Three of my closest friends have a pair. Autumn has two pairs.
Hmm.
So my girlfriend, for those who don't know the first name basis, I don't know why I just ran right into that, but she's got two little pairs. I mean, like they're just like, and that's the thing is, this was a shoe that transcended basketball. That people are wearing these for style.
Hmm.
You even said it, like you're wearing them for style.
Yep.
And my friends, they all got like different colorways
Yep.
of the or well colored swooshes and
Yep.
things. Autumn's got two different colored swooshes. Like this went uh from grown men playing professional basketball to women who don't have anything to do with basketball. Like it's reached such a wide audience because it has stood the test of time. Like you said, what, 1973?
Yep.
73 in today. I personally know six people that own at least one pair.
Hmm.
And I don't know a lot of people. Like, I mean, like that's a big deal. The fact that these shoes are that old and still that prominent is huge. So I think that it's a great pick. It's a perfect pick.
Yeah. I love so while doing some research on these, I love the fact that Nike. So George Gervin was one of the first guys that like was the face of a basketball shoe, like it just because Nike and Adidas and all these guys they didn't really like market the player that much back in the day. He was one of the first to have. He was the guy sporting this shoe, and one of his first pairs, they literally instead of having Nike on the heel, or I guess on the Achilles at the top there, just instead of saying Nike, it says Iceman. That is awesome. Like that is
It's so dope.
so cool. And you were talking about transcending just basketball, dude. Skateboarders, these are a
Yeah,
huge
pick the
thing.
Blazers heavy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because of the grip. Like, so these are just they're so like multifaceted. No, you're not going to catch anyone on the court wearing these anymore, just because probably nowadays they would be considered uncomfortable, and I get it. But
But at that time,
at the
that
time, it
was
was the
probably
best
the
to
most
offer.
comfortable shoe.
Yeah, this was the first step in Nike just taking over basketball, and obviously Jordan helped. Jordan was didn't just help; he was the reason that Nike kind of cemented themselves in basketball. But like this was the first step, and like it stood the test of time. Period. Almost 50 years old now, which is crazy to think about. But
Nuts, dude.
yeah. All right, let's go to your last pick, Ben. What do you got?
This was tough. This was one of those, like, we could have done an entire episode on just Kobe's.
Yep.
Okay. Kobe Bryant, RIP, Mount Rushmore basketball player, and one of my favorites to watch growing up. In Deke, I know, potentially Deke's favorite athlete of all time. Was just an absolute killer in a shoe game. And the reason that I picked the Kobe fives was specifically because of this colorway. Because I mean, does that not just perfectly match the Lakers? For God's sake, I mean that is just. I love like the team oriented shoes. I know that a lot of people like, oh, I want them to stick out, but like if you're playing for the Celtics and you got bright yellow shoes on, like I think it looks kind of dumb. So the fact that like he played into the uniform while also making this a buyable shoe for other people was awesome. And the Kobe fives, they were super comfortable. And I love that most Kobe's were low cut.
Yep.
A lot of people don't. A lot of people don't like a low shoe. They like a mid or a high top. But I really like the lows. Like even I've had a couple of LeBrons and I like them to be lows. Okay, like that's just. I guess it's a personal preference. But I think that he made them look good and still look like a basketball shoe. They didn't look like a cleat. They didn't look like a soccer shoe or something like that. Like they still looked like a basketball shoe while being a little more comfortable without wrapping things around your ankle, and you were still able to have mobility with it. And I love almost the metallic shine
Yep.
on it. I think that the placement of the swoosh is perfect. I think that the cushion in the gel that's underneath, but in the sole there is just awesome. I love that you could get different accessory laces with it. You could get laces that look like snakeskin that were just because he's the Mamba, and a couple of the Mamba shoes that were put out in his Mamba brand just that transcended itself and is still touching people today. And another cool thing is that this was Kobe's best-selling shoe of all time was the Kobe 5. He sold so many, but this one specifically, and this colorway skyrocketed when he passed. That it was already in the conversation, and when he passed, this was the most bought Kobe shoe, period, in his time. So it's been popular, and it still gets worn today. There's still guys in the league wearing Kobe 5s. This was just, I mean, his fifth shoe, but really, to me, the one that he hit the nail on the head with most, pairing up with Nike. This is just, dude, and arguably, like, this up there for one of my favorite shoes ever. I love this shoe. Love Kobe. Just dynamite all the way around.
Yeah. No. So the low cut shoe thing that being a white guy that's not too swaggy, I can appreciate that. But I had a pair of Kobe's at one point. I forget which. I wouldn't know the name off the top of my head, but I picked them because they were low cut, and that's just what I was used to. Playing soccer. Whenever I had to go, I was playing fraternity league basketball, right? And I had to go pick up some basketball shoes. Went and picked up some discounted Kobe's, and like it was awesome because it was low cut. I didn't feel like I was wearing a basketball shoe, but at the same time, I knew I could move around the same way. And if anything, I think it almost kind of speaks to how competitive Kobe Bryant was, that he didn't care about going with the high top. He just wanted something that he knew he was going to dominate on the court with. He just didn't even
Yeah, what
care.
can I slash in?
Yeah,
That's what he wanted.
exactly, dude. And it while also giving him, enough support. Another thing too, and I almost wish that Nike would bring it back, if anything, just for nostalgia's sake. But they did these with all the soccer cleats too. If you look, they got the fly wire in there too, which just makes it
Yeah.
lighter. Which in my opinion is awesome because I was being a soccer player growing up. All the Nike high end Nike cleats had the fly wire in it, and that was just so cool to me. So like
Yeah.
that's another added touch to it. And yeah, the colors, I mean, they nailed it with this one. So this is an incredible pick. So
I had to throw it in there. And, when you have somebody that's been, and it's not and I get that it's easy pickings to pick a shoe from the stars, but like, how are you going to leave them off. And there's some that we did leave off
Mm-hmm.
that I wish that we didn't, but it was like we had to get our picks in. Maybe we'll pick this up to a part 2
Yep.
at some point, but this was one I couldn't. I feel like the sneaker I would be mad at myself, but I think the sneakerhead community would come for our heads if we didn't have a Kobe on this list.
Oh yeah, 100%, 1,000%. No, these are awesome. And Kobe was a killer. My first NBA game I remember watching was when Kobe had come back. What year was it? Like 05 or something, and it was Lakers Sixers, and that was my first NBA game I had ever seen. And it was Iverson and Kobe, and I was just blown away by both of them because it was just like an awesome game to see. And since then, those have been two of my favorite players ever. So just because
Hey,
of that.
two good players to have on your favorites roster.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah. Maybe those are basic picks. I don't know, but like
no, they're cliche, but it's for a reason because they garnered that much attention and that much fandom because they were so good and such cool people too. You know, so
yeah,
no shame there, dude. Everybody should be a Kobe and AI fan.
100%. All right, so I'm gonna go to my last pick. Had to throw
Had
these
to
in
get
here.
on there.
Yep,
Had to.
absolutely had to. So I'm going with the OG. Going with the Nike Air Jordan 1s. Literally, I think the shoe that changed everything. This was one of the shoes that really, like, it cemented Nike's place in basketball, more so than the Blazer even. And it was really the start of sneakers going past basketball. There were people across the world that just wanted these shoes just to have them. And in my opinion, the Jordan 1s, these are my favorite because again, I can't put looking like I do, and I'm like I said, I'm just not swaggy. I can't pull off a lot of basketball shoes. These are some of the ones that I think I can because it does have that kind of classic vintage look to it, right? That original colorway is awesome because it just went with the Bulls look back in the day. And kind of a side note, those are my favorite Bulls jerseys by far, the one with the curse of Chicago on it. But this was such an iconic shoe because it really helped establish Michael Jordan as more of a brand, more than just a player, and more to he was a brand. Really one of the first guys to ever do so. This was the shoe that really kicked everything off on it. These are awesome. These are classic. These make me think of vintage sports. Period. Like this is the pick in my opinion. Like it doesn't get much better than these.
No, this was one where we should be publicly humiliated if this wasn't on the list. Like, this is the shoe of all shoes. And people watching through this episode, we were probably driving them nuts waiting to get to this. But this is just the quintessential pick in how we have to end the show because this is the basketball shoe. This is the sneaker. If you know anything about, this is the holy grail of shoes. In this colorway specifically, obviously going with the Chicago theme and everything is perfect, but there's so many different colorways. This is the one that you will see the most in that like people get respect for. These are the shoes you got to be careful how you step so that you don't crease them. Like these are the shoes that get the most self-care because they are held in such high regard. Jordan transcended this from not only being a Nike shoe to, like you said, being an entire brand to where not even involved with Nike, there are just Jordan shoes now. But this is what got Michael Jordan brand-wise on the map. Like you said, he went and he was really, you can say whatever you want for other people. He was the first person who made himself a brand that took over the world. It was usually like a player who was a brand, but they were kind of like owned by the father company or whatever, when really Jordan has a lot to do with Nike's success now. And like he propelled them forward. He was his own thing. And these shoes, dude, top of the line, you genuinely can't beat it. And I'll argue with anybody who wants to all day on that. And I don't know what I'm talking about with shoes, but that should prove the point even further that even I know that this is the creme de la creme when it comes to shoes. Derek, take that, stick that in your French pipe and smoke it. I just did a French accent too. So but these are where it's at, dude. I mean, these shoes are the shoes.
No, that you literally you cannot beat it. Like it is the shoe of
Can't.
shoes. It is like it to the point where you can't even find these under. If you found a pair of Jordan 1s for under $300, or maybe I don't know. I'm just guessing here based on what I've seen. I haven't seen a price lower than 250 on like a used pair of Jordan 1s. They are held in that high of a regard that like you just simply can't find them. I don't even know if I want a pair because I like to wear them. And like I don't even know if I would want to wear them because like
You'd be
this is
so
the pinnacle.
nervous
Yeah,
about,
this is
yeah.
the pinnacle, you know? Like
Yeah, I'll tell you what though, that is dangerous. If you've got vintage, like vintage Jordan 1s, you got to
yeah,
be
watch
careful
out.
where you go.
Yeah.
I mean, like people will beat you to get those shoes off your feet for
Mhm.
real, man. But that just adds to the gravity of how important these shoes were
Mhm.
to the basketball community, to the sneakerhead community. I mean, this just was not only revolutionary at the time, but still today in 2022 is known as the shoe. So, I mean, this was just the quintessential pick for NBA kicks. I mean, we shouldn't even be doing the show if we didn't have this on.
Yeah.
So this was like the pick out of the vault, but still relevant today. The absolute best shoe we could have put on there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, Ben. We are going to go to our wrap up here. Um Air Jordan 3s, especially in that UNC colorway. Awesome. A new
Fours.
Oh, what did I say?
You said threes,
Oh,
fours.
fours. I got threes on the mind. And I we got the newer age pick, the Adidas Icy One from Trey One. Oh my God, Trey Young, Jesus.
Hey, it's all
I'm
right, baby. We persevere.
I'm not even drinking tonight. And then we got the Kobe's, which are just phenomenal. Killer Instinct, the Mamba always came out with some heat. Yeah, I love all your picks. Surprisingly, I like those Trey Young ones more than I thought I would. As I keep looking at them, I'm like, those are nice, dude. Those are
Dude,
nice.
I love them. Like I said, I'm not even like it's not like I'm a Hawks fan or anything, or like I follow Trey Young. Like I just, dude, for new age sneakers, for like things that are coming out now, like this is the only new one that we have
Yeah,
on here, and like I love it. I just, dude, oh man, they're just so dope. I
yeah,
like it's just aesthetically pleasing, and because of the reference of the icy and everything, had to throw them.
yeah,
But
yeah.
and then we go to yours, okay, and we've got something that defied technology. All right, in the shoe game, right, with the pumps. In the Blazers, obviously a classic that are still getting worn today, and then the Jordan 1. I mean, you killed it. Like you picked the ones that people who are experienced sneakerheads are like, yes, like you pleased everybody.
I hope
Like
so.
this is where like your picks are like, hey, all right, that guy's cool with us. Like in the sneakerhead community. So all great picks. Like this is genuinely when we're like, I'm not second guessing one of mine. I'm not second guessing one of yours. Like there's so many, literally hundreds of thousands of shoes, and we had to just pick six.
Hmm.
But I think we did a good job.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and if you're watching this and we did leave off any good ones, like let us know, please, because we're not sneakerheads. So there are definitely going to be
We're not.
some that we missed, and obviously there are going to be some that we missed because there are so many to pick from. But like I had a few other ones on like in my head too. Some of the LeBron ones I remember just playing basketball back in like elementary school. There were a few kids that had
It
LeBrons.
was
Those were
tough to leave
nice.
LeBrons off. I had a
I
couple
know.
that were like on my like HMs.
Mhm.
It was just that one. I got so wrapped up in like which one I wanted to put on here that I was just like, screw it, and I didn't put any of them on.
Mhm.
And it was tough. There's like Kyrie's,
Yep.
KD's, even Steph came out with some better ones recently through
Better
Under
ones.
Armour, which I didn't think, which I didn't think was possible because his early shoes, they were
Ugh.
rough.
Tough.
But recently, I mean, everybody's stepping up their game. So this list maybe the hardest time I've ever had
Mhm.
on this show, like picking three.
Yeah.
Like this is arguably up there for like the toughest I've had to boil it down.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, I thought about for a second just trying to piss off all the sneakerheads. I was about to put the Starburys on here. I couldn't bring myself
Dude,
to it.
I almost did too because listen, they were affordable. They were sponsored by a superstar athlete. $15.
I was gonna say
Berries.
affordable. That's an understatement, dude.
I had three pairs, and
Same.
I thought that I was a better athlete because of them. And oh, dude, it was awesome because like, listen, everybody, I grew up. We'll just say not wealthy. Okay, so getting shoes that were sponsored by a professional athlete were like a pipe dream. Okay, up until probably I'd say at least like middle school. All right, I got the Starburys when I think I was in fourth grade.
Same.
Oh, dude, I was an animal.
Mm.
I was the best kickball, basketball, football, soccer player in my mind that I'd ever been because I had Starbury. So you're lucky. We didn't put them on here, but God, man, those bring back such good nostalgic memories.
Oh yeah, I just love how you could only get them at one store. It was Steve and Barry's of all places you could get that sell sneakers. You had to go to Steve and Barry's to get
Yeah.
Starberries. What a time, man. What a weird time. But hey, those were awesome because they came in so many colors. I mean, who cares if you
A lot
bought
of
three
different
of them?
options.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you could get whatever colorway you wanted to, and it's like, well, it's $15. I'm sure your mom isn't gonna be that mad about it.
Now, I'm sure they're probably more expensive now on a resale market.
Mm-hmm.
Those Trey Young icy ones. Okay. You could get 9 pairs of Starburys for under the price of what the icy ones cost you.
Isn't that crazy, dude?
9 pairs of Starburys for what that one pair of shoes would cost you.
That's insane to think about. And
think about that. Like,
okay,
put it in those terms. 9 pairs of shoes for
okay.
the same price.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this real quick. So the shoes that he wore. Are you telling me that he was wearing the $15 shoes, or he had to have something a little more substantial, right?
No, dude. Okay, he was wearing them. He was wearing
That's
his shoes.
crazy to me. You know, like that's wild.
Well, and honestly, but to be fair, I think that them being as cheap as they were and going so fast as they were, was like why they didn't do so well and didn't last so long is because they were almost too cheap.
Yeah.
And also Stephon Marbury had like a mental breakdown, so that didn't help either, and his business kind of went to garbage. But you know, hey, whatever. I mean, the dude was committed. He got the Starbury logo tattooed on his head. So the guy was eating like Vaseline on live streams and stuff. I mean, he really lost it, but made a good, affordable shoe. Stephon Marbury, you made a lot of kids' childhoods better.
Oh yeah.
So thank you for that.
Thank you. Benny, that was a good one.
Shout out Starbury. Shout out Vaseline.
Shout out Vaseline.
but anyway, man, I had fun as always. And simply put, I'm looking forward to next week, brother.
Oh yeah, no, me too. We went a little out of our comfort zone, I'd say, on this one, but I'm fine with it because I think we hit some good ones for sure. So like I feel good about it. Benny, we're not drinking tonight, or else I would toast you, but you know, cheers, buddy. So guys, this has been the Vault Weekly Show from Thoughts on the Bench. That takes a look back at some of the best and worst jerseys in sports. This week we took a look at sneakers. What are you doing?
I'm waiting. Go ahead.
Okay. Made me lose my train of thought. This has been the Vault. Tune in next week, guys. Benny, it's been a good one. Appreciate it. That was worth it. I'm so happy you did that. All right.
All right.
Awesome.
Peace.
Peace.